What's up, everybody? It's Drew Muzan. Welcome to the first episode of Tapped In. I have a very special guest, guys, from the Mayor of Charlotte. He won't call himself the Mayor of Charlotte. He's a very humble dude, but I believe he's the Mayor of Charlotte. Like low key, he's a connector. I just said he's a connector. He's a creative. One of my homies, creative director of my church, Dave Butler here, aka known as Dave as Wings. How you doing, bro?
Doing good, man.
Appreciate you coming through, bro.
Hey, thanks
for
having me.
a long time coming.
Yeah, for sure.
So, talk to me a little bit about. I kind of gave you a little introductory. You probably won't call yourself the mayor, but tell the people who is Dave Butler, who is Dave Has Wings.
I'm a Charlotte native, and I'm a creative consultant working in arts, education, and culture.
Okay, you say that.
Short, straight to the point, man. That's it. Keep it nice and simple.
Yeah. So, what is Dave Butler tapped into?
A few different things, man. Like I said, arts, culture, and education is probably like the three categories.
Mm-hmm.
And then working in those spaces in different capacities, and then also like working full time as a, in community relations for a retail company.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, man, I'm tapped into community, tapped into art, tapped into sneakers and fashion, a little bit of music.
Okay.
But yeah,
So where did that love for the community come from? Like you said, I know your main position is dealing with community, and a lot of the initiatives that you're running is dealing with community. So where did that love for just wanting to get into community?
Well, it was more so like just trying to create what I didn't have.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When I was coming up, like when I was really getting back home, like 2013, 2014, and trying to like establish myself as an artist, as a creative.
Yeah.
I just noticed that it was just certain things that just didn't exist.
Yeah.
And then I found out that there were resources out there, but like myself and the homies I was running with and the circles I was running in, we just didn't have access to it or didn't know about it. So what I've been doing like the last 5-6 years is just trying to create more opportunities for those resources to be easily available to people like myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you're trying to get tapped into?
Really like just everything that I'm doing, but just at a larger scale. Okay. So just like more bread.
Everybody trying to get more bread, right?
Yeah. So, but nah, like you go from being able to, I use photography as an example. Like when I was taking photos on campus, I started out, shooting for different like organizations, sororities, fraternities, graduation photos. You get $80 for a shoot, $75 for a shoot, whatever. Then eventually you start getting $200 for a shoot, and you get $500 for a shoot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just about like continuing to progress and like scale that, and know that like if you can attain it at the highest level, it gives you the opportunity to help put other folks on it too. So that's really more so what it's about. It's not even necessarily about lining my own pockets as much as it is like just knowing how things operate and work, and then being able to like again create pipelines and access for other creatives. So
talk to me about the brand and Analog Luxury. For the longest time I didn't know what that meant. And then I figured out that analog is more like less off of the phones, more person to person, right?
Yeah. So Analog Luxury is like I have this like obsession with just kind of like older quality, like old school quality. Like my actual individual consultancy, the name of the company is the Featherbed, and that's because at one point like feather beds were like the highest quality thing that you could have, and like obviously you have to take the feathers off the animal and put them into a mattress or whatever. So like, Analog Luxury is kind of an extension of that or that mindset, and it's really more so. Everything's rooted in kind of vintage photography and design. And yeah, it's just the expression of that is like, how can you have something that like has that old school quality, that old school intention, but it exists. And the luxury portion is like it existing in a contemporary context. Yeah. So how do you take something that's old, make it relevant?
Okay. Yeah. All right. So back to Analog Luxury. Where did the name come from? I don't know if you said. Did you say where the?
Nah. It just popped in my head one day. So like a lot of what I do from a creative standpoint, it starts with like a feeling. Okay. So I was listening to. It started with playlists. So I created a playlist. And I was listening to the first portion of that playlist is like Sampler's first album process all the way through. So I would listen to that album all the way through for like a year and a half while I was like figuring out what the brand was. Like I knew I needed to start something different because I wanted to create something that could exist without my name having to be on it. Okay. Because at first I was making merch and t-shirts and hats and all that, but it had Dave Has Wings on it. Yeah. So if you didn't know me or if you didn't rock with me or whatever, you might not buy it. You know what I'm saying?
That's the key. So talk about that after that.
Yeah, for sure. But so I wanted to switch into something that like that that's something that could live and exist on its own without it necessarily having to be directly tied to me, like something that just had its own brand identity.
Okay.
And so I knew I was gonna reframe the merch and stuff I was making, but it needed a concept to live under because that's just like how my brain works. Mm-hmm. So I was just, I started off with a playlist, and I was constantly just kind of chasing that feeling of like it needs to feel like this. And then the first thing that came to me was the color orange.
Okay.
And then one day in the shower, most of it comes to me in the shower too. So like the next thing that came to me was the name. It just dropped in out of nowhere, like Analog Luxury. And then I started to look. I dug into different spellings of analog and what analog meant and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Especially being in photography too, you hear about like analog photography. So it's just like it just kind of worked out.
Okay. So then you dropped a kind of a gem in between that. You said you wanted to have a brand that can exist without your name on it. Mm-hmm. Talk about the importance of that, because I think a lot of people don't do that nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on what your goal is, right? And for me, I don't like being the center of attention. I don't like being in the forefront. I don't like none of those things.
In the back, chilling.
Yeah, so I mean, I had originally created the merch to point people back to my photography.
Okay.
So I would normally wear a hat every day, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was first starting my company, I was like, what's the best way? I should wear a hat that has my own logo on it or something that like has something to do with me.
Yeah.
So I created a logo, created two logos actually. My Continuum logo, which is like an athletic letter D with like a little asterisk up top, and then I had my signature logo. Mm-hmm. And I, put that on a hat, and I would wear it every day. And then because of the colors and stuff that I chose, people thought it was like sports teams, so it would like strike up a lot of conversation. Like if I wore royal blue one, people were like, oh, is that Duke? Or if I wore the navy one, people were like, oh, snap, is that you a Dallas fan? You a Cowboys fan? And it's like, nah, like I made this hat, da da da. And I'm like, oh, okay, what do you do? And it was like, oh, I'm a photographer, this, that, and the third. So it was a way to generate leads.
Okay.
But then it got to a point where like the homies was asking to buy it. Like everybody was like, oh, like I want to support you. I see what you're doing. You like to quit your job. X, Y, and Z. Like.
And was that like the first thing? Like, oh, I could sell this, or would you always have it in your mind?
Nah, it was a marketing thing. It was 100% a marketing thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then homies would ask like, yo, can I buy a hat? And I would just be like, okay. So you make one, or you maybe you like run a 12, and then you get those off. And then, like, well, what else can I make? Mm-hmm. And then you just think, you just making stuff. Yeah. And then. It got to the point where I was like, yo, like, I just don't feel like people kept asking me, like, is Dave has Wings a clothing line, this, that, and the third, or what's up with the brand? I'm like, it's not really a brand, it's just, like, merch that I made to promote my photography. Mm-hmm. So I was like, let me actually create a brand that can, like, live and exist. And it's evolved. Analog Luxury has even evolved past that now where, like, it's, like, the root and the base of, like, my fine art practice, which is the next phase that I'm getting into, is just working on some fine art stuff.
Okay.
Got a gallery show coming up in May of 2020, so... my first commercial gallery show. I've done independent shows by myself and like self-published my own photography book and stuff, but this is the first time I'll be in like a commercial gallery space with my work for sale.
That's dope.
I've curated some museum stuff and done some video work for museums and stuff like that, but it's the first time like my work is going to be available for somebody to purchase in a commercial environment. So I'm looking forward to it.
So how did you get to this I don't want to say level, but how did you get your start in creative? Like, I remember you telling me a story. I don't know if it was at church or whatever. You were saying you had a Hundreds backpack, and somebody saw it, and then that triggered a conversation, and you started spilling off all stuff about Bobby Hundreds.
It was a hoodie.
It was a hoodie.
It was a hoodie. Yeah. So, in terms of getting into help, like participating, because I've been a fan and I've been buying streetwear and been into sneakers since like 08, 09. Okay. I got my first job at Chick-fil-A so I could like buy the t-shirts and sneakers that I wanted without having to hear something from my mama. So, I bought this hoodie from the Hundreds, and I had it for a couple of years at this point, but I was in classes my sophomore year at Winston, and I had it on, it might have been my junior year, I had it on, and my African American Studies professor asked me about it after class, and he was just like, yo, like, I like that hoodie, like, where'd you get it from, or what is it? And I was telling him, like, yo, it's the Hundreds, they're branded based California culture. I went through his whole dissertation. And after that, he was like, oh, word, like, he's like, I got a business opportunity for you. So it turned out he had a media company, which is Afro Blue Media, and he wanted to start doing merchandise, but he didn't have the time to do it. So he was like, yo, if you want to run the merchandise for me, we can work something out, and it can be like internship experience for me. You can write for the blog, this, that, and the third. Word. So man, I just dove into it head first, and like started working with graphic designers, started working with screen printers. At this time, I was a fan of streetwear and a fan of design and a fan of all these different things, but I didn't know how to execute it. I didn't know Photoshop, I didn't know Illustrator. I don't even think I really had been taking pictures at that point. I don't even think I owned a DSLR yet. Yeah. No, I might have owned it. Did I own a camera? I didn't own a DSLR at that point, I don't think. Yeah. When I first started with Afro Boot. So I think after that summer, I think that might have been spring of my sophomore year, and then going into my junior year is when things really picked up, like that fall when I came back and I had my camera and all of that. And dove head first into it, man. Started shooting lookbooks for him. Finally figured out how to get the merch done. Then started shooting lookbooks for him. So you were figuring it out. Yeah, 100%. And that was the whole point. Like he was just like, figure it out. Like, and I'll pay for it through the company, and like we'll just make it happen.
And you just had a love for it.
Yeah, I mean, I was already a fan of it for 3-4 years at this point, but I didn't know how I could participate. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know that I could actually make tees or I could actually make hats, and this was an opportunity to do that. Yeah. So also like furthering me being a part of it was like with the photography. It was like, okay, this is my contribution. I can't necessarily like design a t-shirt by myself or print a t-shirt by myself, but I can take really dope photos and I can put together a marketing plan and worry about the rollout and how we're gonna get people to know about it. Because this was before IG was really popping like that. I don't even think you could post off your camera roll in IG yet, so you had to take pictures like through your phone. You know what I'm saying?
Basic interface that they had.
Yeah. So man, it was just taking advantage of the opportunity that was in front of me, and it worked out, and I got a lot of good experience from it.
So talk about the different projects, like the t-shirt drops that you've been doing. Not I wouldn't say at random, but the t-shirt drops that you've been doing.
No, you can call it at random.
Yeah.
At this point,
it's random.
Be like that. Yeah.